The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
What a move! Truex in the outside contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's broadcast of the Dynasty Racing League on DRL TV. My name's Ryan Branch, and I'm joined tonight by Martin Wenzel for what should be one of the most intense races of the year. We're at Kansas Speedway, where there are just 12 drivers remaining in the Cup Series playoffs. 200 miles stand between these drivers and another cut. 4 of them will be eliminated upon the conclusion of tonight's race as we narrow the playoff field to just 8 going into next week at Martinsville. Martin, as I bring up the point standings, who do you think's in real danger of being eliminated here tonight? I mean, after last week's performance, I know Chad Presnell will be looking to bounce back strong. He can't afford another finish like he had at Talladega. But who else needs one of those best finishes of the year kind of nights in order to move on?
Yeah, Presnell looks safe as long as he can have a decent enough finish, which he should have. I'm looking at Joshua Wakefield and David Wellborn. Those are the 2 guys, 11th and 12th, right at the edge of getting eliminated. And they have to have probably have to win to get in at this point.
Yeah, they're easily going to need one of those best finishes of the year for sure. We've seen that stuff, you know. We've seen great finishes in the last few weeks from David Wellborn in the 96. Didn't do so great at Talladega, not the finish he was hoping for. Dustin Musial, Thomas Harmon, and Chris James, all 3 of those guys within a point to one another. That's really where the race is going to be at tonight, seeing who's going to claim that 8th position. You'd need a major mistake by somebody like John Theodore, Mike Springer, David Wright, or Chad Presnell in order to fall out of that top 8. But we saw it last week. I mean, Presnell's not somebody we expected to get the finish that he did last week at Dega. Came out, things didn't go nearly as well as planned. And he lost a lot of points in the meantime. So that stuff can happen. If it happens to 5th, 6th, or 7th here tonight, that could allow one of those other drivers to sneak in.
For sure. And, yeah, I mean, that race is going to be between those 3 guys, James, Musial, and Harmon. And, you know, yeah, with Presnell and Harmon, they just kind of had some bad luck at Dega, and that's what happens at Talladega. Anyone can win, and anyone can kind of just have a bad finish as well. And I'm looking for that early here at Kansas too, because Kansas is the kind of track where things can go sideways really quick for a driver and your race could be over in a flash.
Yeah, pretty technical track. It is a 1.5 miles. We'll run 133 laps around here tonight, but I mean, very technical as to when you can get in the gas, when you have to get, when to let off, when to get back into the gas in the middle of that corner, and you kind of have to eyeball it. If you find yourself getting out of the gas as you leave the corner because you got in too early, that can really hurt your speed going down the straights here. Yeah,
and going probably early in the race, the first few laps, maybe first 2 or 3 laps, we'll see them going on that bottom line, but then usually it seems the preferred line is right up against the wall. And if you get into the gas too soon, you're going to eat the wall. And you got to judge it right, because you don't want to have to let off the gas. And even if you get on it late, it's better than getting on too early and then having to let off later in that turn.
As we follow along here with Wade Hustad posting a qualifying time. He was the fastest in practice. We'll see what he's able to do here. And I think the big thing every week, Martin, is what are the track conditions like compared to what these guys have practiced all week. We do have the dynamic tracks in iRacing. Things are going to change race to race, so that can get complicated.
I know a few drivers were a little surprised that the race was afternoon, but our races are set to the same time typically as the real life races, as close as we can get. So Kansas this week, and NASCAR was a day race, and so it's a day race in Dynasty Racing League, and the track right now is 112 degrees.
Yeah, so it looks like these guys don't need that whole first lap in order to warm up. So we saw Wade Hustad there. He just stopped the car, went back to the pits, and he's going to give it another go here as they can kind of use that first, 3/4 of a lap around to get the speed that they need in order to post a qualifying time. See if he's able to feel a little more comfortable with this one. As Anthony Burrows is now sitting on the pole with a 30.292.
Yeah, Wade Hustad catches the wall again on his second lap. So we're going to see what he can...
I mean, if
that's his second lap, that might be...
We might see Hustad with unable to post a qualifying time here. He might have to start in the back of the field. Anthony Burrows with that 30.292 I spoke of, that was his best lap of the night. So if there's a time for you to post your best, I guess it's during qualifying, right?
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world for Wade Hustad. Again, Hustad's probably locked into the next round. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not enough cars to even bump him out. But he would love to get another win to help him with bonus points because they're getting the points reset going into the round of 8. And he needs all the help he can get, having 7 wins compared to Burrows' 12 wins. And Burrows is set up in prime position to get his 13th.
Fresnel, after struggling last week, he's out here posting his qualifying time. See what he's able to put down. That's just going to start his green lap, as that first one was just a warm-up. So, and that'll go to show, too, Martin. You could look at John Theodore right now sitting, I think, what was he sitting with, a 30 point... I mean, yeah, he's over 1/10 of a second off of Burrows. So that really goes to show how much technicality there is to a track like Kansas, and really how, you know, precise timings and when you can get in and out of the throttle affects your time here. As Presnall now moves himself into second place. So good time by Presnall.
Well, and Joseph Helt takes the pole, 30.283. That's 8 thousandths of a second faster than Anthony Burrows.
So we've seen a lot of great things from Joseph Helt these last few weeks, or, you know, this entire back half of the Cup Series here in the DRL. Definitely one of those guys to look out for next year. He didn't get in time in order to make it into these playoffs, but Joseph Helt is having one heck of a season here towards the end.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he does have 2 wins, and that was basically, yeah, it was a participation issue. He just didn't have enough. For him, he would have needed to get enough points to get in because the wins would not lock him in.
We're going to go down to the track now, get a quick interview here with Joseph Helt, and see how he feels about the pole position. See how he's feeling about Kansas in general, or maybe that was just a one-off lap for him. Let's see, Joseph Helt, where are you? Actually, don't know if he's Discord at the moment. So maybe we won't get the chat with Joseph Helt. I don't see him at all. Martin, do you?
No, I don't. I'm just looking at the racers we have in here, and one big name missing is David Wright. So that might be the end of his playoff run, missing an important race. And as we know, you can't miss any races. We saw that with Eric Johnson and Jonathan Schwartz. They missed one race, and that was the end of their playoffs.
Yeah,
so David Wright might be out.
Pull up these point standings again. He is 52 points back at the lead. He's got Chad Presnall just behind him, Chris James, Dustin Musial, Thomas Harmon, and David. I mean, I think anybody's really in range of him here after not participating this evening. So that gives Wellborn and Wakefield a little bit more hope, and it kind of allows 2 of that 8, 9, and 10 driver, Chris James, Dustin Musial, and Thomas Harmon. Those guys are now competing for 2 spots rather than just 1. So things are going to get interesting here tonight without David Wright showing up.
All right, we got 16 drivers on the grid. Wade Hustad going to be starting in last, unable to post a qualifying time, hitting the wall both laps. David Wellborn will start on that back row with him after posting a 3-minute time to make sure he was back in the back of the field.
We'll run through the starting grid real quick here. You got Joseph Helt sitting on the pole with Anthony Burrows in second. Oh, maybe. My grid go. Got Chad Presnall in third. John Theodore holds the 4th position. Josh Mayu in 5th. Mike Springer sits 6th. Thomas Harmon in the 7th spot with Dustin Musial 8th. You got Hunter Johnson in the 9th position. John Mullins is 10th. Sam Niederhelm in 11th with Jim Westerfield in 12th. Joshua Wakefield holds the 13th spot. Chris James 14th. David Wellborn in the 15th position, and Wade Hustad pulling up the rear of the field after touching the wall twice there early. So things are going to get interesting, Martin. If you notice there, Thomas Harmon is starting right next to his buddy. Him and Dustin Musial both, the 9th and 10th spot there. Those are the two guys who are in severe danger of getting cut here tonight, and they're starting side by side.
Yeah, and earlier this season, May 15th, Kansas 200 at night. That was won by Chad Presnall. Eric Wolf was on the pole. Eric Wolf won last year as well in that great finish between him and Anthony Burrows. So Presnall has won at this track.
Pace car is going to pull off here, and Joseph Helt takes us to the green flag. Straight down onto that apron. Martin, you want to go over a little bit about Kansas and why these drivers drive on the apron here?
I guess the apron, you can cut that straightaway a little bit shorter. It's a risky move though, because if you come up and there's a car staying on the outside and then you slice across, so we'll see some issues with that. Maybe a guy doesn't want to go down the apron and then another guy does, and they come across the nose. But that is what they're trying to do, trying to shorten that stretch. As we see Chad Presnall with a great run on Anthony Burrows, and he's gonna go side by side going into turn 1 and will take second place.
It looks like he easily grabs that position. You can tell, though, he likes running that outside line. That's one of the great things about Kansas is it's kind of a multi-groove track. We have a very, very hot track here today, so it's not going to allow these guys to run wherever they want. The car is going to get loose with such hot conditions, but it gives the guys a little bit of room to move around. Not everyone has to be running the exact same line, and I think we'll see a lot of racing here tonight.
Well, that was an interesting sequence, too, because Joseph Helt hit the wall, dragged on the wall a little bit, but it seemed like Anthony Burrows slowed down while Joseph Helt kept going along his way.
Oh, and Chad Presnall almost touches the wall there, so the wall's already sneaking up on these guys. The car just feels so tight, pushing up towards that wall on your way through the corner, and at the very last second it gets loose, and you almost lose the back end of it, so...
Yeah, you don't want to be too afraid of the wall, because if you turn it too much, you're going to get loose coming out then. So you kind of want to let it get it up there against the wall.
It's like Mike Springer pressuring the back of the 89 and John Theodore. Springer's fallen, I think, a couple spots since the beginning of this race already.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson already up. He's passing Burrows now going into the turn. He's all the way up from 9th place, battling for 3rd now.
Yeah, Hunter there, the number 98 car, starting in 9th. Gets around Burrows without any real problem.
Yeah, Josh Mayhew's the one who's kind of dropped back from 5th all the way to 9th.
And they almost swapped spots there. I mean, he was in 5th. Hunter Johnson's moved forward a little bit from there. But, that just goes to show, some of these guys, they put in so many practice hours, but a lot of them will do it where they're just practicing the qualifying laps, and they're not really practicing under race conditions, or they didn't get extended practice throughout the week on the dynamic track and all the different conditions that we can see here. So a lot of different factors are going to come into play here tonight, as we got Wade Hustad already moving through this field. He's moving quick.
Yeah, he's coming up on a little bit of a traffic jam too, with Springer and Theodore battling in front, and then Harmon and Musial, and Wade's going to the low side. He's going to try to get right down, trying to get past Josh Mayhew, who's been falling back from 5th place.
We're already seeing it. These guys 3 wide through the corners here at Kansas. Like I said, multiple lines here on this track. You can kind of make any of them work if you really need to in order to make a pass. Wade Hustad is using the whole track to get around these guys.
Yeah, we can see John Theodore. He was up there battling with Springer. He started 4th, and now he's fallen all the way back behind Wade Hustad into 10th place.
Yeah, story I'm already seeing back here, Martin. You have David Wellborn in the number 96 car. He is unable to advance his position yet this race. He started in the rear of the field, and he stays there. Joshua Wakefield in the 35, also one of those guys in danger of being cut.
Yeah, those two need to make some moves. And Chris James also on that cut line. He's battling with, he needs to get a better finish than Musial and Harmon. And right now he's quite far back. But again, we have 133 laps.
Yeah, a lot of things
time waiting for that wreck. I'd be surprised if we get out of here without a big wreck taking out a few of these cars.
Yeah, and there's just a few guys that really can't afford to let it happen to them. Chad Presnell running comfortably up in second behind Joseph Helt right now with Hunter Johnson actually right on his tail. He can't afford for something to go wrong.
Yeah, Hustad got into the wall right and almost got hit by Josh Mayhew there on the backstretch. So that kind of slowed up a bunch of cars. Now we got a little bit of a diamond formation for Mayhew, Theodore, Westfield, and Mullins.
Again, they seem to be okay, just riding side by side. I wonder who's actually saving tires more, if it's the guys on the outside or the guys on the inside.
I think the outside line, you're going to save more tires. That's why that's why I said probably the first few laps you'll see them run that low line. Because if you run that high line too quickly, yeah, if you go on the high line right away off the start, you're gonna get passed really fast. But if you get up there about 2 or 3 laps in, you're golden. You're saving your tires, and you're gonna get out of the turn about the same time as the guy on the low line. And in fact, he might have to let off because he'll pull a slide job on you.
Definitely something I've noticed. Josh Mayhew currently in a channel with Jim Westerfield, so I think those guys working together here this evening, maybe got some practice in. It's like Wolfpack's motorsports team, so them working together. And then you got Chad Presnell, Thomas Harmon, Wade Hustad, and David Wellborn. All of those guys are hanging out together, so definitely some of these guys talking through this and deciding, you know, which part on the track is best to be running at any given time. As we still see Anthony Burrows in that number 62. He's one of those guys that every week he tends to have a little bit different line. Most of the time you see him further out than the other guys by about a half a lane to a lane, and tonight he's running lower than everybody else. So Burrow's not going to give up what he knows or what he's practiced throughout the week just because the other guys are doing something different. So we'll see if that pays off in the long run or not for the 62.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson had a great run there coming into turn 1 and 2. Got right up on the bumper of Joseph Helt and looked like he had to let off a lot to not run into Helt. So
yeah,
Johnson,
as he heads down to the apron,
yep,
trying to pass the 0-2 of Joseph Helt. I mean, he's the big mover of the night already, Martin. And from 9th all the way up to 2nd, looking to make a pass on the leader here. Hunter Johnson's got Kansas figured out.
Well, he'd love to get another win. That would help him, again, going into this next round, the extra bonus points.
Yeah, so everybody at home knows all of these drivers. You see the wins there listed on the point standings. Anthony Burrows is going to get 36 bonus points after tonight's race. Everyone will jump to 4,000, the top 8 drivers, and then for every win, they'll get an additional 3 bonus points. So you'll see Anthony Burrows at 3,036. You'll see Wade Hustad at 3,021. Hunter Johnson at 3,003, etc., etc. So just a win here tonight is going to help these guys significantly at the beginning of next round because, again, we reset, there's 3 more races, and then it's anybody's race at Homestead. That wipes out all of the wins that Burrows and Wade Hustad worked for throughout the season. So really, you really want to get this win tonight, get those bonus points for that next round, and be able to compete with those guys and try to make it to Homestead.
Well, I said it probably a few times last week that Burrows and Hustad are probably a pretty good lock for Homestead already, just with all those bonus points.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them not to get there. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of bonus. You know, with the size of the schedule that we had for one driver to come out and get 12 wins, I don't think the 7 wins thing would be so massive and large of a difference. But you notice all the other drivers in those point standings, you're looking at 1 win, maybe 2 wins. So you just haven't had anybody else with a lot of wins stacked up like that.
Jonathan Schwartz was the only other guy. Him and, you know, he had 3 wins, and then you go to Presnell being in the playoffs, and Schwartz is out of the playoffs already. So Presnell's going to jump into. He'll be in third. He'll be in third in that round of 8, going into the round of 8, unless something bad happens here that knocks him out. Presnell will be restarting the next round in 3rd place, but Johnson's looking for another win, and that's going to put him in a tie with Presnell.
It would. Presnell did win this race earlier this season. If he can sneak in another win here tonight, that's going to put him just a little bit, a step closer, and everyone else a step further away going into that next series of races.
Well, speaking of Presnell, look who's behind Hunter Johnson now running third place, Chad Presnell. So all of these guys, well, the Helt and Presnell both have 2 wins. Hunter Johnson looking for his second.
You know, one thing that interests me, Joseph Helt was out to an early run. He did start on the pole. He got that quick restart and kind of pulled away from everybody for about 3 to 4 laps. And now that they've reeled him in, they've been unable to pass him. So I think passing is going to be a real issue here tonight, Martin. We're going to have to see a mistake by the driver in front in order for somebody to get around him. As we have seen Hunter Johnson move down onto that apron every single lap as he runs behind the O2, and he's yet to make the pass.
Oh, he is right on Helt's bumper, and he could have almost looked like he could have given him a bump right there. Eased off, took the high road.
Sometimes that can be a recipe for disaster if that car in the front accidentally, you know, if they get in it a little too early and they let off the gas coming out of the corner when you least expect it. If you're running that close, you got to be on your toes to avoid a major accident.
Oh yeah, that's definitely where we're going to see something today.
We're 21 in out of 133. I would hope that's where we see some of these cautions that are, you know, I would assume evident to come out at some point here tonight, and not be solo spins or things of that nature. You know, I really want to see these guys get an opportunity to collect some green flag pit stops, see, you know, let them put a whole race together and show really what they've got. Hunter Johnson still right on the tail end of Joseph Helt, not giving him any breathing room whatsoever. Again, guys, we're 22 in out of 133. We're going to go down to the racetrack and listen to the sounds of iRacing. And with all of that, we do see Hunter Johnson has passed Joseph Helt for the lead. So the 98 is your new leader. Martin, how long do these guys have to go, you think, before they need to come in and get some fuel?
I want to say about 40. Lap 40. Start seeing them. 40 to 50.
I don't know if they can make it on just one stop here, and I don't know if anybody really wants to, because people are going to really want some tires. If we look at the fall off right now, best laps by most of these drivers are in the mid 30s. Current laps they're running are in the high 32s, so already about a 2.5 second drop off from the beginning of the race. Definitely not easy to hold on to those cars out there right now. I know I've tried to drive this Cup car around Kansas just on fresh tires. It isn't easy, let alone 110-degree temperatures and older tires.
Yeah, tires are going to be more of an issue, I think, this race than fuel. People are going to be thinking about the tires more than the fuel as it is. So, but by the time you really want to get those tires, it'll be about the time they want to get fuel as well. So it'll work out good in either way.
Mike Springer now up into the 4th position. He gets the pass on Chad Presnell on the 55. So Presnell doing very well on those fresh tires. Seems to be falling back now. Don't know if he maybe has a little damage to the car. If we look at the number 55 here, it looks like the right front fender might be dented in slightly. So some contact to that outside wall, but most of these cars are going to experience that at some point here tonight. And he has a gap on the number 68 of Thomas Harmon. Everything is real spread out here other than these top 3 drivers still running relatively close to one another. As Wade Hustad is now on pit road. So he was running in 10th when he came down into the pits, and Hustad will be the first of these drivers to come down and collect a pit stop.
I don't think he was actually down pit road. It looks like he went, he actually hit the wall, or he just got loose coming out in the trial, but went through the grass. And he was just coming out of the pit road because he kind of just shot through right at the end of pit road.
I was trying to go back and see the replay. That's, yeah. Wow. Yeah, getting very loose. He did wave down there. Maybe got right into the pit lane.
And he's right now appealing his case with race control because he did get a black flag for an unsafe pit entry, most likely. And yeah, he's got some damage on the front end of his car. He hit the wall harder during the crank it up section. So yeah, he's got those black flags cleared now. Race control is going to take a pity on him. But he is now back in the 14th.
Yeah, I mean, those type of things almost unavoidable. They're going to happen to everybody at some point during their racing. We don't expect it for somebody like Hustad, though. Luckily, he has all that cushion in the point standings. This race is not going to affect him a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen too much more of that so far of people going through the grass. Looks like he catches the wall again going into the turn.
Well, David Wellborn was our first driver to actually come down and collect a pit stop there in the 96 as he comes back around these leaders. So he is currently listed as 2 laps down. As soon as he gets around the 98 here, he'll be 1 lap down. Whoa, and he rolls right up in front of the 98 there of Hunter Johnson. So yeah, David Wellborn flirting with danger a little bit.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson's not going to be too thrilled about that.
Yes, that allows the 62 of Anthony Burrows to get right on his bumper. Burrows does get loose coming out of the corner, though. Looks like Burrows wants to push the issue here. Only problem with that is these guys really want that high line. Burrows was comfortable running in the lower line earlier in the night, but the car is getting really loose, and it's not going to be easy for him to hold it down there and actually make a pass. So I see the 62 just staying in line here, running behind the 98 of Hunter Johnson and letting the laps tick by. as we now see Wade Hustad's teammate, Chad Presnall, is going to come down and take a pit stop. So, again, Presnall felt really comfortable on those fresh tires. Hopefully coming down and getting some fresh tires is going to make him a little better here. But first one of these drivers in the top 5 of these point standings to come down and get a new set of tires.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of movement amongst the leaders. Chad Presnall was all the way up to 3rd, and he then fell back, and Burrows is back up into 2nd with Hunter Johnson leading, and Joseph Helt back to 3rd. So there's been a little bit of shuffling going on in this top 5.
Chad Presnall with a pit time of 16.95, so obviously he needed some form of repairs there, maybe to get that right front fender hammered out a little bit.
Anthony Burrows got really loose coming out of turn 2. He actually went almost all the way down to the white line on the backstretch, just trying to get the car back under him.
Well, Martin, I would say if there's one driver that can handle the car when it's loose, it's the 62 of Burrows. Definitely proven himself already throughout this year, but maybe looking to turn those 12 wins into 13 here tonight. He still runs right on the bumper of the 98.
Yeah, maybe the 98's taking it easier too, because you saw a 62 really close that gap coming out of the turn. And I haven't seen the 98 wiggle at all yet, so he might just be taking it easy. He's keeping it under him, and Burrows might be pushing a little bit, just causing him to wiggle out of the turn. And as he gets side by side going into turn 1.
The car almost gets sideways on him down there in that low line, really pushing it and trying to get underneath the 98, but still unable to make the pass. I don't know if it's wise of him to keep trying to push the car like that, but again, if he could clear the 98 of Hunter Johnson, he might be able to run away with a lead here. He just isn't able to run his optimal line currently.
Well, and that's always the issue. Anytime there's a guy running a high line around the top of a track, any track, and you go low, your corner is shorter because you're going to be coming up and sliding right into where that car, the guy on the top probably is, exiting the corner.
Whoa,
so as that lower car, you got to be careful. Yep, he got really close. Yep.
I just can't believe Anthony Burrows, 42 laps on the tires. He's still holding it down there on the bottom of the track here around Kansas. As Hustad, I think, is officially going to come down and get some tires this time, as well as Jim Westerfield, number 4.
Yeah, I want to say Hunter Johnson is having some issues with the wall because he's seeing Burrows right on his outside coasting up into him. And so he gets a little afraid to come out of the corner as he is used to. Feeling it getting a little tight there.
Well, you can probably take comfort in the fact that the 62 will do the right thing and won't intentionally slide up into him or make a dive bomb pass like that, as now we're going to see Burrows try to make the pass on the outside work.
Yeah, and you saw Hunter Johnson come up, and he wanted to get in the outside and just got close enough that it slowed down Burrows.
And Burrows makes the crossover.
Oh, no.
As Hunter
Johnson and Burrows.
That's tough. I mean, he made the crossover and he slid up into him. Hunter Johnson wiggled off that wall just a hair, and Burrows slides right up. We'll watch it one more time here on the replay.
Yeah, Burrows is just unable to make Kansas work for him. We saw this a year ago, him and Eric Wolf, and Burrows had the bad luck at Kansas on that late battle with Eric Wolf. Yeah, great crossover. Johnson got into his preferred lane. So Burrows went down. Johnson actually is the one that kind of got loose. Johnson came down while Burrows sort of just stayed in the same lane, and that's going to cost Burrows.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson's car started to slide on him. The front end wiggled a little bit to the left, and that spins the 62 around. So Burrows, I mean, great job on him not getting up into the 98, but Hunter was unable to hold that high line, trying to hold off the 62 of Burrows, and that's how we have our first caution here tonight. Not what we expected, Martin. Again, anything can happen at one of these tracks. Luckily, I mean, that's between a couple guys that I don't think it's going to affect a whole lot. We'll see what they need for repairs, and we're also going to
Yeah,
keep a close eye on who exactly comes down to pit here, because we did have Chad Presnall just pit 7 laps ago, David Wellborn pit 12 laps ago, Wade Hustad just pit 3 laps ago, I believe, so that could get interesting.
Yeah, I don't agree with Race Control on that one. They pinned Race Control's pinning that on the 62, saying that he snapped loose. But from what it looked like, from our point of view, it looked like the 98.
That was definitely the 98.
Took a left turn.
Yeah, he didn't take a left turn. He just lost the car to the left.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't intentional at all. Yeah, it was just it was going too hot, and that's what I was saying. It's like if you don't trust that you're going to be able to stay off the wall and go straight, and you still have that wheel turned, you're going to snap and go left, and that's exactly what happened to the 98. The 62 actually did a very good job on that. Making that pass or trying to make that pass on the 98.
So we see all of these drivers, 44 seconds, 42, 39, 50 seconds, 48 seconds. I mean, everybody down pit road collecting some repairs here. 110-degree track temp, Martin. These guys are all hitting the wall. Every one of them.
Wow. Wow. That means they're pushing it. That means they're really pushing the car as hard as they can.
You have a new leader in Chris James. Looks like he's going to stay out, maybe just to get that lead lap. Pull up these point standings. You see Chris James sitting in 8th right now, right on that cutoff line. He's going to have to hold off Dustin Musial and Thomas Harmon, so the bonus points are definitely going to help him. But he's going to have to finish this race fairly well in order to get that spot. I mean, there are 2 positions to be had, right? So if Musial moves in front, Harmon moves in front, all you have, I mean, David Wright's going to fall out. So, I don't know. Chris James is right there on that cutoff, and I don't know how long he's going to stay out here, if he's going to come down and pit now, or what the plan is, but the 82 would take a penalty to pit now, wouldn't he?
I don't think so. I think he can pit now still. You can still pit.
Pretty sure the pits are closed. If you come down with 1 to go, or 2 to go, the pits are closed for a driver that's on the lead lap. So he would take a black flag penalty.
I'm not sure about that.
Down and make a pit stop.
I think you can. I think you can lead a lap and then come down. Yeah, he can come down.
And we'll see him coming down now, and
there he is.
These guys are not doubled up yet, so it is still 2 to go. I want to go grab Anthony Burrows and see what his thoughts are, and see if he may have argued with Race Control or not. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, heard through the grapevine that Race Control called that your fault. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I wouldn't really say it was my fault. I haven't seen the replay yet, but I mean, I did get loose out of the corner, but I feel like I kept it on the inside pretty well. I think he got loose too, and he might have hooked me, but I mean, it's racing. With the tire wear, I kind of expected something like that to happen. So
yeah, the tires definitely looked tough out there. What we saw up in the booth, both of you guys wiggled a little bit, and I think the back end of his car was going around on him, and again, I think he hooked you as well. But it is what it is. Go out there and finish the race strong, man. Best of luck.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, guys.
All right, so it doubled up on that front row. Mike Springer and Thomas Harmon. And yeah, Springer is the control car. Behind them, John Mullins and Josh Mayu. So those two.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a shakeup up front here. You see Joseph Helt in the 02. Everybody with a little bit of tire spin on that restart. It's like the 64 of John Mullins got really loose at that restart. Joseph Helt moving to the outside. He gets bumped in the rear by the 22 of Dustin Musial. So crazy restart on our hands here as these guys are 3 wide through turn 1.
Ooh, and Helt kind of got sandwiched there with Hunter Johnson coming up. He's going to fall all the way back behind Theodore and Hustad to the back of that lead pack.
Nowhere to go. Hunter Johnson might be getting a little impatient here as he was running all over the back of the 22 with Dustin Musial. Now it's Chad Presnall on the 55 all over the 22. So yeah, Musial seems to kind of be in people's way at the moment as Hunter Johnson gets that easy pass.
Yeah, sometimes you get up into a higher position and everyone's got fresh tires, and you don't realize how fast they really are.
And look at there, the number 32 of Wade Hustad, currently sitting 1 lap down. He's running just behind his teammate in the 55.
Yeah, 55 gets a bump on Musel there on the 22, going into the tri-oval. As Josh Mayhew is dropping back behind Hunter Johnson.
Car down, way down on the apron. Who is that?
Yeah, that's Chris James.
Uh-oh, the 82 of Chris James, after coming down to pit, he did get that lead lap. He is now 2 laps down, currently sits in the 16th position. So he's going to need Dustin Musel to have a pretty bad night going forward. And I think he's also going to need Thomas Harmon to have a bad night going forward in order to get into these playoffs.
I wonder if he's not having... I'm getting a lot of blinking issues from him, so maybe he's blinking, or maybe he got speeding coming off of pit road. In any case, he falls all the way back.
Again, Martin, I think it might. I think he got a black flag for coming down. We'll have to verify after the race, but I think he got a black flag for coming down to pit with 2 to go. I think the pits are considered closed at that point if you haven't already rolled down pit lane, and it's for that exact reason. So you can't just go across and collect a lead lap and then move to the rear of the field. I think it gives you a drive-through penalty or a 15-second holding penalty. Could be wrong. But Mike Springer out to a healthy lead here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that because that's something we've seen happen all season. People staying out, leading a lap, and then coming down. So it must still be open, I would think, because we've seen it a number of times. Guys staying out while everyone else comes in, so they can get that lead lap, get that lap led.
I've seen it under green flag conditions, but I don't know about under caution. I don't know. We'll figure it out after the race. We'll go down and grab Chris James and see what happened.
Yeah.
He's now 2 laps down with Jim Westerfield in the number 4. That's your 16th and your 15th positions, the last 2 positions in this race. And then Wade Hustad 1 lap down in 14th. And David Wellborn Jr., he sits in 13th, so he's making up a couple positions. But I don't know if it's going to matter here, Martin, with Dustin Musel still out there running strong. And Chad Presnall's out there running strong. Joshua Wakefield, even in the number 35, seems to be doing okay now as he runs in front of Anthony Burrows. So. Only a bit of a change up from what we're used to seeing here in the Dynasty Racing League Cup Series. I mean, typically a race dominated by 3 or 4 drivers. One guy we've talked about all season long and has yet to capture himself a victory is that number 12 in-and-out car of Mike Springer.
Yeah, it was quite a shuffle up after that yellow flag because Springer and Harmon were a little bit further back. They are now right up there. Hunter Johnson right back into the fight for the lead. But then right behind them, John Mullins and Josh Mayhew slide up into the top 5 on that restart. So a little bit of a shuffle. Not the same guys we usually see up there. But those top 3 are all playoff drivers right now, battling for a win.
You know, I think a lot of it has to do with the consistency of these drivers. Obviously, the 68 and the 12 didn't need the repairs that some of the other guys needed when they came down under that last pit cycle. So we saw a lot of cars with those 30, 40, 50-second pit stops. And if you could get out with a normal pit and not need to take any damage repair, I mean, look what it nets you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened with John Mullins and Josh Mayhew, is that they didn't need the repairs. They just felt, hey, the repairs aren't worth it if I do have any little bumps and scrapes from the wall. And that's how they climbed up into the top 5.
Well, Martin, we are now under green flag conditions, and the 98 of Hunter Johnson is quickly hunting down the leader here, and I don't think he's going to be able to be held off for very long as he gets a strong run coming out of the corner and goes to the outside of the 12 of Mike Springer. So yeah, Hunter Johnson will be the new leader.
Weird path out of that exit, though, going almost right into the rear end of Mike Springer. If he had just stayed against the wall, he would have been just shot by, which eventually he did, but looked like he kind of wanted to come down more into a middle lane for some reason. So I don't know if he had just kind of overshot the exit like he did, caused that yellow. Didn't look like he got loose or anything, but you can see how he's coming out. He's kind of coming out into that middle lane, or about a lane down from the wall, and then gets back onto the wall. So I don't think he's trusting his car right now, or maybe he just knows something we don't. But he isn't staying right up against that wall. He's kind of coming out of the turn about a lane down. Mike Springer falling back to 3rd. Thomas Harmon moving into 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas Harmon having a really good run currently in that number 68 car. This is just what he needed, Martin. I mean, we see him there in those point standings. He is very much in danger of being out of these playoffs, and this is exactly what he needed tonight. A big confidence booster going into next week at Martinsville. So see if he's able to finish here tonight.
Yeah, Chad Presnell again on the bumper of a car in front of him. This time it's Josh Mayhew. He's gotten past Musial, and now was right on the bumper of Josh Mayhew. Now he's going to the outside line and will probably make the pass here in turn 1. But he got right up on the bumper. It looked like he gave the 61 a little bit of a bump. So he's been laying his bumper on the cars in front of him as he battles his way up into the top 5 now.
Hey, again, he was our winner here earlier this season. I don't expect anything less from the 55 at Presnell. You know, if he is laying the bumper to somebody, he does it tastefully.
Yeah, he's not doing it because he's just coming in and trying to move him. It's just that he comes up on him so fast that he lets off and does what he can, but
at some
squares
point,
it up at least.
You're just got to get out of his way, am I right?
Yeah. Well, there's not much you can do. I mean, if you have a ton of speed, coming out of corner, you're going to sometimes just get into a guy. And if you can, you don't turn him. And that's what we've kind of seen, is just kind of come up on a guy and just a little tap. Like, hey, I'm here. I let off. I didn't wreck you.
He runs behind the 64 here of John Mullins. Doesn't look like Mullins will be able to hold that position for too long, but this is one of the better spots. We've seen Mullins running throughout the year, doing very well, running up there in the 4th position. Mike Springer,
yeah,
Mr. Consistency, still running strong in 3rd. So as Thomas Harmon goes to the inside of the 98 of Hunter Johnson, he might get the pass here, Martin. He has Mike Springer all over him as well.
Well, you mentioned those long pit stops for getting the repairs, and I was kind of like curious about that. It's kind of interesting, these guys all catching the wall, because I didn't catch the wall too much in the NIS, but of course that's on a fixed track conditions, and this is dynamic. Things are a little bit different.
Well, we do have quite a few viewers on YouTube right now. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in to watch the race here tonight. Please feel free to post in the YouTube chat if you have any questions or anything for me or Martin or the league in general. I mean, we do have Ernesto Gonzalez. He is our stats guy.
Yeah,
he did post up that was the first pole position for Joseph Helt here tonight. So.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Yep.
Martin, I am going to step away real quick, go get a drink of water, but I will be right back. Currently focused on this lead backup here in the front.
Yeah. Ernesto let us know yesterday we had a surprise win by Richard Springer. That Grand National race here at Kansas last night came down to the last lap in the tri-oval. Clay Phillips and James Lorello battling. And I believe Clay Phillips got into the back of James Lorello, and those two spun out right in front of Richard Springer, and Richard Springer was able to slide through for his first DRL win. And Ernesto Gonzalez was kind enough to let us know that was the only first that happened in that race. DRL first. Thomas Harmon trying to pass Hunter Johnson low. Saw him get a little bit loose there on that low side, and we were talking about that earlier. And that's sort of what happened to Hunter Johnson too, is that if you turn that wheel to the left coming out of the turn, you're going to get a little bit loose. Mike Springer, Richard Springer's son, looking for his first DRL win this weekend at Kansas. And he's already led a number of laps. I don't have the exact number, but right now running 3rd, looking strong. As Thomas Harmon and Hunter Johnson battle for this first position. Hunter Johnson running a little bit off the wall, trying to keep Thomas Harmon low, get him loose, force him to stay on that white line, which would be a lot harder to do on older tires. Hunter Johnson working more of a midline and then kind of going up to the high and then coming out again in the middle. Really cutting Harmon's turn short there. A little bit of a gap between Springer and Presnall. And that's about the same gap between Presnall and Helt. And then between Helt and John Mullins, a little bit bigger gap. So things are thinning out. John Theodore and Wade Hustad racing near each other. Wade Hustad, though, down a lap. Theodore running 8th.
I am back, boys and girls. David Wellborn down pit road for the second time tonight with a 14.2 second pit stop. So David Wellborn coming down for another routine pit here to get some fresh tires. Wellborn not feeling so great on those older tires, Martin.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable on the old tires, you might as well come down and get new ones. Otherwise, you're going to be wrecking the car in a lot of trouble.
That does only put him 1 lap down currently. He will get passed here by the leaders, but he'll be able to get that spot back. We saw the last time he came around these leaders on the inside, almost getting into the 98 of Hunter Johnson, who is still currently our leader, but Thomas Harmon definitely giving him a run for his money. I don't know if the 98 still has some damage from that earlier wreck that caused the first caution of the evening.
Yeah, but Thomas Harmon's got to be burning off his tires, though, running that low line and just trying to, because he has to really hold it down there. And Hunter Johnson's not helping him at all because, as you can see, Johnson comes out. He doesn't stay on that top line. He comes down about a lane down, and that makes Harmon have to hold it down just a little bit longer.
Especially in the tri-oval, we've seen the 98 of Hunter Johnson kind of cut the nose off of the 68 and get down towards that apron. So, you know, one of these times, if Hunter cuts it a little bit too close, he might end up getting into the 68. But now, because of the line that Harmon was forced to take so many laps in a row, you have Mike Springer moving to the outside. David Wellborn's going to have to be real patient here while he's trying to make these passes.
Yeah, he definitely wants to get past, but Harmon's going to be a little bit slower. And it's going to go 3 wide.
David Wellborn able to get safely by before the entrance to the corner, and we'll see if the 68 is able to hold off the 12 on the exit here.
It looks like he caught a little bit of the apron, so he's going to fall back to 3rd.
Yeah, he will.
And there again,
just to Mike Springer.
Move right in front of 98. David Wellborn kind of crosses 98's front. The 98 kind of was actually moving down to the apron himself, so it was kind of a crossover for both of them. Got really close again.
Well, now unfortunately the 68 of Harmon kind of having a train go around the outside as he just can't get up into that outer line. So the 55 of Presnall looking to make a move now, and the 02 of Helt's right on the back door. So Helt may be looking to capitalize here as well. We'll see if Harmon gets up into the outer line. I don't know, man. Maybe the 68 likes that lower line right now.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like in a hurry to get up there.
Well, it's either, yeah, I don't know if he's staying down because he wants to make the pass back on the 55 of Presnall, or if he's just unable to move up the track.
There is that also, that if he does slide up in front of a guy with head of steam, he easily get a bumper right in the back, and that could be the end of his race.
Looks like this might be the corner. Hopefully he can get around the 55. We'll see what happens here on the exit.
Yeah, he should try to get up
in front of him. So he gets that position back. Harmon running comfortably in 3rd now, and looks like maybe that slowed Presnall down a little bit as he concedes the position to Helt. So that's the running order currently. Hunter Johnson in 1st. We got Mike Springer in the 2nd spot. Thomas Harmon running 3rd. Joseph Helt in 4th, and Chad Presnall in the 5th position. Go back to John Mullins in 6th, who, after that last restart, hasn't done too bad for himself. He's lost a couple of spots, but definitely running better than he was early in the evening. He started in 10th. He currently runs in the 6th spot. And then you got Dustin Musel, who, again, one of those drivers on that cutoff line. He runs in the 7th position right now. Wade Hustad touches the wall, gets the car sideways. He's able to gather it back up as he exits the corner and almost touches the wall again. So Wade Hustad having some issues here tonight at Kansas.
Well, we saw the same sort of thing happen to him at Charlotte. That's where he got, I think that's where he got hit, and there was kind of a pit issue with him and Thomas Harmon, and he ended up in the barrels with some heavy damage in that cutoff race, but had already locked himself in for the next round, so it didn't hurt him too much. Same thing tonight. He's not having the greatest race, but he's basically locked in for next week.
And we do have some viewers on YouTube. I would like a bit of a perspective from you guys. Do you prefer the camera to be further away here so you can see everything, or a good section of the track like it is now, or do you prefer the closer racing action? If anyone wants to speak up and let me know, what the preferred view is for you guys at home. So everybody now losing a little bit of time to the 98 of Hunter Johnson. He seems to be pulling away pretty easily, but I think things are going to tighten up between second, third, and fourth. You see Joseph Helt on Thomas Harmon's bumper, and Harmon getting closer and closer to the 12 of Mike Springer.
Yeah, Harmon definitely liking that low line. That's his route around here. Everyone else staying on that high line.
I think he just likes it down there, Martin. We questioned it earlier when there were guys going around him on the outside or trying to, and that's just the preferred line right now, running on the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like Helt is definitely closing the gap.
And that could spell that could be a recipe for disaster if Helt does just sneak the nose in there. As he exits the corner, Helt gets very, very loose. Almost turned sideways through the grass, able to gather it up, and looks like Mike Springer had some issues as well. So Harmon catching up to the back of the 12 real quick there.
So Harmon's going to be working the low side and is actually going to get just ahead, a little bit, has the nose ahead of Springer on the backstretch.
We got 38 laps on the tires right now for these guys on this current run. We will be seeing some more green flag pit stops, I would assume, very, very shortly. So it's kind of the end of where they want to be tire-wise. I talked about it earlier. They're running in those high 32s, low 33 laps right now. So over 2.5 seconds off of their quick laps tonight.
Oh, and Dustin Musial catches the wall in turn 1, saves it, holds onto it. He almost got down into Anthony Burrows, and that would have collected Burrows and Hustad.
Who's that?
Dustin Musial. He caught a chunk of the wall in turn 1, but he was able to keep the car straight. Yeah, so we're getting close to that point where we're either going to get a yellow flag, and I think some of these guys, that might be what they're banking on. That they're going to stay out as long as possible, hoping for that yellow, hoping that they don't cause the yellow. If I'm racing right now, I'm staying out until everyone else goes in and starts going in, hoping for that yellow flag. I don't want to be the first guy going in.
Watching that replay, the 22 of Dustin Musial definitely made Wade Hustad back way off. Did not want to be any part of that.
Yeah, John Theodore is going to be the first one coming down pit road, and he hits the brakes really hard, slides a little bit entering, so we'll see if he gets any issues speeding. Kind of went a little bit sideways coming in. Actually, I can check that right now, can't I? I can watch his speed.
Yeah, as he slams on the brakes, right, as he comes
Oh, yeah,
across
he gets
the line
slowed
there.
down. gets down to 42, and that's kind of why he went a little bit sideways. Anthony Burrows all the way back up into 6th now, behind Springer, who is in 5th. We were just talking about Springer running 2nd. Suddenly it's Joseph Helt, Chad Presnall.
Yeah, it looks like we had the 68 of Harmon might have had a little bit of an issue up there as well. So Helt and Presnall running out there in 2nd and 3rd currently, and Hunter Johnson still seems like the class of the field here tonight. Started in the 9th spot, moved up through the field really quick, and he's been the leader most of this race.
Yeah, Anthony Burrows 6th, Dustin Musial 7th, having a good race. Joshua Wakefield running 8th. I think he still needs to finish quite a bit better than that, but
yeah, he's
a very good effort.
He's definitely in a tough spot this week. Had his last 2 weeks, not what he would have hoped for. He does sit at the bottom of these standings, 78 points behind the leader. So I mean, he's gonna need. I don't know. I think he's gonna need to win the race, get many bonus points, and have all of those guys above him kind of drop to the back in order to get into the next round. But he's still coming out here. He's still fighting. That's what we want to see from these drivers.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a traffic jam here because David Wellborn is now got a few cars. I think John Mullins has new tires as well. Yeah, it looks like he went in. Whoa, and David Wellborn gets a little messy going into that turn, trying to avoid John Theodore and John Mullins passing him with fresher tires. Yeah, it looks like he got up into the wall. It was a little too hot into the turn.
Yeah, Wellborn too. He's had the freshest tires on the track for a little while now, so he might not suspect the fact that the 89 had fresher tires than him. Maybe trying to keep him behind him, thinking he was just faster when it was actually the 89 who was much faster. So.
Yeah, John Mullins, John Theodore have fresh tires. I think Josh Mayhew might be in that camp. Yeah, I think Josh Mayhew has new ones.
Well, now we have Chad Presnall, Thomas Harmon, Joseph Helt, Joshua Wakefield all down pit road. Harmon gets a nice quick pit stop there, 14.72. Chad Presnall with a 15.04. So both of those guys with good pits, able to get in and out fairly quickly. We'll get back on the track, and I don't know, Martin, this is interesting. Now you got Hunter Johnson. He is our leader currently, but he's out there on the oldest tires on the track, and he's staying out. Oh, and he pulls down onto the apron, so see if he's able to get slowed down as he locks the tires up, sliding into pit road. Anthony Burrows follows him as well there in the number 62. As Joseph Helton Springer exit pit road. So we'll see how this cycles out. All the guys stopping within a lap or two of each other. Dustin Musial now still going to stay out on the track and get himself a lap led like we saw Chris James do earlier tonight in that 82 car. So that little extra point advantage that Chris James was trying to sneak in there, Dustin Musial is going to get that point right back, Mark.
Yes, he is.
And one thing to note, Wade Hustad out there, 51 laps on the tires. So we saw him pit just before that caution flag came out, and he decided to stay out. I assume he got the lucky dog, or he stayed out for the wave around. So he has the oldest tires on the track by far, the oldest tires we've seen so far here tonight, and seems to be doing okay on them. I expect him to come down pit road here shortly, but how does that guy fight his way back up into the third position after being multiple laps down earlier in the race?
It's just good driver.
See, and he's running in second right now, thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get the lead a lap. But Josh Mayhew, the one car in front of him, has 13 laps on the tires, so no way he's coming down pit road anytime soon. There in the number 61. And now as Harmon pulls back out on the track, he makes the easy pass on Wade Hustad, and Hustad's going to need to come down real soon, otherwise he's just going to be in the way.
Yep, there he goes.
Whoa. He tries to, he slows it down.
Yeah, a little fast coming in. I think he'll be okay because he did get down in that section.
A lot of smoke coming out of those back tires, though. We'll watch one more time.
Came in going about 55, slowing down fast, but he got down into the 30s. So again, they count it by time, not by
Yeah, it's that whole
Yes.
segment, so he's got to make it
Mhm.
through that section in a certain period of time, and he did slow way, way down before he made it to the end of that first segment, so I think he'll be all right. Josh Mayhew is now our leader. He'll collect a lap lead here. And there he is, Martin, the 68 of Thomas Harmon, coming out the best, I would say, there during that pit cycle. He's going to have Hunter Johnson hunting him down there, though, in the number 98 car. I don't know why I want to say hunting somebody down, you know, every time I mention Hunter Johnson, but I guess that's just how it goes. Got to make myself sound silly.
Well, they all do it. Even the best, right?
So I did see one of the viewers mention putting the camera on the right front. The only reason I hesitate to put that camera up is because they are actually getting so close to the wall here that the camera clips through the wall.
You could actually, if you go into the camera settings, you won't be able to do it right now, but you can. The near plane bias, you turn that all the way down.
Yeah, I can make it.
Can avoid a little bit of
so
that.
It doesn't. Yeah.
You just turn it all the way down to the lowest setting.
I mean, I can still go watch the right front suspension, right? We'll see exactly how close Hunter Johnson
Oh yeah, I'm
gets to the
watching.
wall here, but
I'm watching Harmon right now, and yeah, close, but not clipping into the wall yet. Well, a little bit right there. But it's close.
yeah, it goes kind of through the safer barrier as they get up next to the wall, but.
Yeah, I think if I turn down that airplane bias.
Well,
See how that
Harmon goes
works.
around the 61 of Mayhew, and now we see from Hunter Johnson's cockpit view here, he's going to have to slow down. That's going to give Harmon a chance to kind of run away, as the 61 of Mayhew kind of acts as a pick, holding Hunter Johnson back just a little bit longer. See if Harmon's able to do the same. But the guy who's just in front of him here, who's that?
Sam Niederhelm.
Yeah, the 60 of Niederhelm here. We'll see if Harmon can use Niederhelm in the same way. But Harmon does have about 2 lap older tires than the 98. And we know the 98's quick. I mean, he has led the most laps here so far tonight. So let's see how long Harmon can hold him off. As the tires get older, I mean, that's going to help Harmon more and more because it can be so difficult to pass on old tires. So then it'll just come down to Harmon not making any mistakes and not giving the 98 an easy way around.
Yeah, we got 32 laps to go.
Yes, sir. It's been a good one so far tonight. The only caution of the evening coming out between 2 of the better drivers of the league, Anthony Burrows and the 98 of Hunter Johnson, getting into each other, and that definitely affecting Burrows a lot more than it's affected the 98 here. So Burrows
Yeah, and I
is sitting
think-
in ninth.
Yeah, barring a yellow flag coming out, this is going to go to the end on these tires.
It will, and again, the longer and longer that Harmon can keep a gap on the 98, the better, because as those tires get up into the 30, 35 laps in, it's going to be just unbelievably hard to pass, no matter how good you are. So we'll see what Harmon's able to do.
Yeah, Harmon, Johnson, Helt. A little bit of a gap back to Presnall running in... Well, who's in 4th here? Yeah, Presnall 4th, and then John Mullins in 5th. So Mullins having a good race.
Mullins having a very good race. He did start, what did he start? 2nd after that last, or that first caution. So able to kind of stay in the top 5 ever since then, and keeping the car clean, doing what he has to do to get a top 5 finish.
Yeah, 2 guys I wasn't looking at in this race to really be.
Whoa, and the
part
55
of,
of Chad
really
Presnall down across the grass. Presnall, see if he's able to gather it up. He does get the car straight and comes back out. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened there. I don't know if he hit the wall or...
Didn't hit the wall, just got completely...
No, he definitely hit the wall.
Oh, yeah, he did. Got the wall.
Hit the wall real good.
I thought he had missed it and was just turning it too hard left to avoid the wall, but actually got into it.
So kind of bounced off the wall a couple times there, slid down into the infield, does get the car straightened out, is able to get back on the track. But that's going to hurt the tires. He's only 13 laps on his tires right now. And that's going to make it feel like there's 25 laps on the tires, and that's not what you want to see coming towards the end of a race where you still got to sit out there and run for 28 more laps.
Well, I was talking to the people of the top 5, 2 guys I wasn't really paying attention to and didn't really think were going to be in the top 5 in this race with John Mullins and Josh Mayhew. Now, Josh Mayhew did start in 5th, and for a moment or two was actually had posted probably a 2nd or 3rd fastest time in qualifying. So
looks like one more pit stop for Jim Westerfield. There's a couple of these guys on a different pit strategy. They're going to come down and collect one more pit before the end of this race. Yeah, that's the thing when you have 133 laps on a mile and a half like this. I mean, you can do the 30 laps per pit or the 40 laps per pit. I mean, you can either break it up into 2 pit stops or 3, and a few guys have elected to take 3.
Yeah, and as we look at these smaller fields in the playoffs, because it's just points drivers and the playoffs drivers, and we have 11 playoff drivers running tonight. David Wright's probably going to fall out. But then our other 5 drivers, Joseph Helt, John Mullins, and Josh Mayhew, right up there running top 6 now, as Mayhew drops to 6 with Mike Springer passing him. And then we have to go down to Sam Niederhelm, still out there, and Jim Westerfield. So good to see a few guys that aren't competing for anything other than bragging rights.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see everybody
have guys come out and
race. If you're in the point standings, there's no reason you shouldn't be out here racing with these guys. Obviously, we know real life happens. Some people aren't going to be able to make it to a few races, but very short-handed yesterday in that Grand National Series race. I think there were only 10 that ran in that, so appreciative to all the drivers that come out every week, no matter where they are in the point standings. One person I'm surprised we didn't see this week is Caden Honeycutt. He's been turning out recently, and it looks like he decided to skip Kansas.
Yeah, we're hoping next season. Obviously, we're gonna have a influx of drivers this next season. During the winter season here, we'll have our Winter Oval Series, a Winter Road Series, a Pro Series. So we're actually gonna have 3 different series running this winter, so it's gonna be a busy schedule. No real break, actually. Just different cars.
Harmon
Pro Series.
Beautiful Avril Lavigne car still leading. Following him from rear chase. Hunter Johnson is catching him quick on these straightaways, but Harmon has the better entry. He's not letting him around in the corner, and unless Hunter Johnson can get a nose underneath or above Harmon and kind of throw him off his game, as Harmon makes a mistake. So Harmon getting a little bit loose out of that corner, and that's going to give the 98 the go-ahead. Looks like I jinxed him there, Martin.
Yeah. Well, on both those guys, Hunter Johnson and Thomas Harmon both have 1 race win. Now, this win would be bigger for Harmon. Harmon's on that cut line, but where he's going to finish, the way he's racing today, he should be good. But both of them looking for that extra 3 bonus points going into the round of 8. And whoever gets this win will move into a position above the other guy.
Definitely don't want to count the chickens before they hatch. Something could go catastrophically wrong for Thomas Harmon and actually knock him out of these playoffs completely. So he still does have the opportunity to ruin it for himself, but racing very well in the 2nd position right now. Did run out there and collect quite a few laps led in that 68 Avril Lavigne car. So Harmon just has to finish this race somewhat close to the position he's in now, and he's definitely going to make it to the next round.
Well, he has to run a smart race at the finish here, and we saw this in real life with Jimmy Johnson, where he didn't need to win that race at Charlotte, that Charlotte Roval, and he went for the win, and that cost him the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, again, you just hope in a situation like this. Obviously, everybody wants to go out and get that win, but the 68 has to know that it's smart here just to race it to the end, finish close to the position you're in now, even if he loses 1 more spot, which it doesn't look like he's going to. But again, a lot of things can happen in the next 20 laps.
Well, you can see right here, coming up hot on Dustin Musial.
If he gets a position close to where he's at now, he's going to be just fine moving into that next round.
Well, right there was a mistake. That was coming right there, and I could see it coming from a mile away. Watching him, it did not seem like he was planning out where to go there, because you can tell that Musel's a lap is going to be, or he's a lap down now, so he's a lap car. And you're kind of up at him fast. You shouldn't expect that lap car to just ditch out of the way. You need to figure out your strategy. Didn't look like he had that plan, and so he had to slow down to avoid wrecking. So 18 laps to go.
You know, we had 16 drivers in the field tonight. There is only, what do we have? We have 9 drivers on the lead lap, but not a single driver is more than 3 laps down. So everybody keeping the car fairly clean. We did have the one caution, but both of those drivers still on the lead lap, running 6th and 1st, respectively. I mean, it's been a great race tonight, Martin. Haven't had anything crazy happen. Not one of the big wrecks like I thought we might have at Kansas with the multi-group racing that we have here.
Oh yeah, I said that in the pre-race. I thought we'd probably have another kind of situation like Talladega where you get a big one. You know, Kansas is set up where you can have a big one that takes out a few drivers, and we had just a 2-car wreck between Anthony Burrows and Hunter Johnson, and really it was just a bunch of damage for Burrows, and he's battling for 5th place now, so...
And speaking of a bunch of damage, you wonder why
Not
the
a huge
22 ended up getting lapped there, putting him the first car a lap down. The right front fender of the 22 was all up in the tire, so Dustin Musel definitely collecting the wall a few more times than he wanted to. And he's continuing to lose positions because of it. We'll see if Sam Niederhelm's able to catch up to him. Joshua Wakefield and Wade Hustad also 1 lap down.
Yeah, I'm going through all the cars right now trying to find a clean one. Chad Presnell bent up. Burrows is really bent up on that right front. Hustad bent up. Probably the one clean one I can find right now, John Mullins, and that's why he's having such a good race. He was able to just come out on that first restart, or on the one restart we've had, without having to get that 50 seconds of repair or whatever. Was able to just go in and get tires and fuel.
Once again, after the big mistake just a few short laps ago, the 68 of Thomas Harmon is starting to pull up under the 98 of Hunter Johnson on these corners. So I don't think Harmon's done here, Martin. We're 26 laps into the run right now, and I think he'll be looking to make a pass here in a few laps.
Well, we're talking about clean cars. There are 2 cars on the track that are pretty clean. One of them is Thomas Harmon, the other one is John Mullins. So Harmon has that as an advantage. Mark Johnson, Hunter Johnson, a little bit of front right damage.
We're 119 in out of 133. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here to finish this race. Thank you again to everybody for tuning in to DRL. This is the DRL Cup Series on DRL TV.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
As we follow along here with Thomas Harmon in the number 68, still trying to chase down our leader in Hunter Johnson. We'll run through the running order currently. We have Hunter Johnson in first, Thomas Harmon in second. Joseph Helt runs in the third spot. Mike Springer in fourth. Chad Presnall in the fifth position, battling with the 62 back here of Anthony Burrows. Then you have John Mullins running seventh, John Theodore in eighth, Josh Mayu in ninth, and Dustin Musial rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Thomas Harmon tried to make a pass a couple laps ago, and in a situation looked almost exactly like the situation that brought that first yellow between Johnson and Burrows. Johnson came out of the turn a little low. As you can see, comes out of these turns going into that mid lane, and he got into Thomas Harmon, who was coasting up into the high lane. Both of them were able to save it, though. So it's going to be very hard for Harmon to pass Johnson, just the way Johnson's coming out of those corners.
Yeah, I mean, we're now Harmon 35 laps into this run, Hunter Johnson 33 laps into this run. So Harmon couple lap older tires, but by the time they come to the white flag, we're going to be looking at lap 43 on Harmon's tires. So definitely not going to be easy to make a pass here in the closing laps at Kansas. Looks like he's going to get another shot. I don't know. He looks so close, like he's just going to get right inside of him going into these corners, and then Johnson gets such a big run coming out.
I wonder if it wouldn't be wiser to just stay on the same line as Johnson and get a little bit closer that way, but
you might think
wouldn't.
That, but Harmon's been running that low line all night. That's what he's comfortable with, and at this point in the race, you just want to stick with what you know.
And he's gain. I mean, he does gain that. He does gain it. The problem is coming out of the exiting turn, because Hunter Johnson does not stay up against the wall coming out. See, he comes down right there, and that makes it much harder for Harmon to come out. And that's what caused that first caution.
It is what caused the first caution, as you saw the 98 get a little bit loose in the middle of that corner there. So Hunter's not keeping it up against that wall through the apex, and maybe that extra input he's putting into the wheel there is what's causing the back end to go around on him.
Yep. Well, that's exactly what happened on that caution back, lap 43, somewhere around there.
Yeah, back with Anthony Burrows, where those two got into one another. Both cars wiggled loose, but the 43 definitely, or the 98 definitely turned down a little bit. So.
Well, that's the 98's line. That's the line he's been running all races. He comes out and he goes down about a lane and a half off of the wall, which is not what you're expecting as that low side car. It's not what you want as the low side car, because it makes it much harder for you to come up out of your turn, because now you have to hold it down an extra lane and a half that you weren't expecting to.
We've got 5 laps to go. Hunter Johnson, Thomas Harmon, Joseph Helt, the top 3.
Yeah, Johnson got really close to the wall that time.
Mike Springer's running 4th, and Anthony Burrows in the 62, all the way back up to the 5th position as he heads to the outside of Sam Niederhelm in the number 60. You see the right front of Anthony Burrows' car is still all scraped up, so he's touching that wall quite often, as most of these drivers have done throughout the night. 3 laps to go, Martin. So I'd really like to see a win from the 68 here tonight, but again, he does need to conserve track position, not try to push the car too hard and make a major error. He doesn't want to fall to the back of this field and lose those points, that's for sure.
That time, Harmon stayed high going into the turn and kind of almost got into the wall. And this time, now he does stay high through 3 and 4.
He's changing the line up a little, maybe trying to find something here in the closing laps of this race.
Well, watch him as he goes in this one, because this is what he did. He changed, and yeah, he stayed up high. And here he is going high, and then he kind of dips a little bit.
And that's what can cause the back end of that car to get a little bit loose, but it looks like he's doing it better than Hunter Johnson currently. So as we come around to collect the white flag, we're going to see if Thomas Harmon can make a last lap run here and maybe steal a win away.
Well, I think he saw that it wasn't going to be possible for him to come up from that low line and do a slide job on Hunter Johnson, just the way Johnson is coming down that lane and a half out of the turn.
And the white flag is out. We will not have a caution decide the race tonight. We're going to watch these guys race to the line and see if Harmon is able to put something together in the last turn of this race. I think the gap's too big, Martin.
Well, Harmon goes low. That's the first time he's gone low in 3 and 4. But it's not going to be enough for him.
And Hunter Johnson is going to be our winner at Kansas.
So Hunter Johnson is going to move into a third place tie in the standings for the round of 8, along with Chad Presnall. Both of them will start the next round with 4,006 points, both of them with 2 wins. Thomas Harmon will sit right behind them with 4,003 points.
What a race that was here at Kansas tonight. Very, very fun to watch. We're going to go down and get a couple interviews with our winners here, but first we'll run through the unofficial results. We did have Hunter Johnson with 81 laps led take away the victory here at Kansas. Thomas Harmon finishes second with 12 laps led himself. Joseph Helt in the third position. Mike Springer finishes fourth. Anthony Burrows is going to get fifth. The sixth position goes to Chad Presnall. Seventh to John Theodore. Eighth to John Mullins. The ninth position goes to Josh Mayu. And 10th to Dustin Musial. Sam Niederhelm finishes in the 11th spot. The 12th spot goes to Joshua Wakefield. 13th to Wade Hustad. 14th, David Wellborn. 15th, Jim Westerfield. And the 16th spot goes to Chris James.
Yeah, looking at the point standings, it looks like probably Joshua Wakefield, David Wellborn, Chris James, and David Wright will be cut after this race. And going into next week, it's going to be Burrows, Hustad, Presnall, and Johnson, Thomas Harmon, and then Springer, Theodore, and Presnall. Or not, I already said Presnall. Theodore and Musial. Musial will get the sneak in.
Right now, I mean, it's looking that's going to give Hunter Johnson his second win. Chad Presnall with 2 wins. So they will have 3 points advantage over Thomas Harmon there in the number 68 car. So already at the very beginning of this next round, you got Thomas Harmon right there on the cutoff line, just like he was tonight. And, I mean, he was on the cutoff line tonight and he came out and performed. Hopefully he does the same next week at Martinsville. He's going to need it because those top 4 guys, definitely with an advantage with those extra bonus points. I can't wait for the next 3 races. Going to be fun.
Yeah, Martinsville,
playoffs.
Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. And remember back, Harmon got that 1 win. That was at Texas.
We are going to go down and grab our winner, Hunter Johnson, and get a quick interview with him and see how he's feeling after the victory tonight. Hunter Johnson, you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, it's Ryan up in the booth. Heck of a win tonight, man. It led a lot of laps here. Didn't know if you were going to be able to get around Harmon in the 68, and if he wouldn't have made the mistake there with about 14 to go, I don't know if you would have gotten the spot, but you did get it, and you held him off. How's it feel, buddy?
It feels amazing. I'm very surprised I did this good coming into the race. Didn't no practice for the track temperature, so I had no idea how this track was going to hold up for me. Just try to run however I could. I know me and Burrows made a little contact and caused a caution, which kind of I feel bad for him because he would have been real fast. Other than that, it was a really good race, and all I know is I'm exhausted from that.
Yeah, you took a little damage to the car, able to get back out there and fight back to the first spot, man. Couldn't be any happier for you. How you feeling going in next week into Martinsville?
I'm feeling very happy. I made it to the next round. I'm happy about that, and I'm looking forward to Martinsville. I feel pretty confident. Did a fixed little session earlier, and ended up coming fourth to Logan Clampett, so I can't really complain about that. So I'm feeling pretty confident going into Martinsville.
Well, awesome. Congratulations again, man. You want to give a shout-out to anybody before I let you go tonight?
Yeah, thanks, SWA team. I know y'all helped me a lot. PJ O'Leary, he was doing my spotting and my crew chief all race. Congrats to Ray Alfala for winning the Peak Antifreeze Series. I got confirmation of that. Thanks to y'all in the booth. Thanks to Race Control. Thanks to everybody that keeps this league running, doing so good. I want to say thanks to the drivers for being such fun racers and giving competition. That was just real fun.
Well, congrats again, Hunter. We'll see you next week at Martinsville, buddy.
Thank you. See ya.
Well, that was our winner. Definitely sounded ecstatic there, Martin. A win in the Dynasty Racing League is unlike any other. I've yet to capture one myself, and when I go out and I win an open race or I win an NIS or something like that, it's exhilarating. But that just goes to show what it means to these guys when they can take home a win in the Dynasty Racing League.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 36. I mean, especially Cup Series, there's 36 races, and the competition is really stiff. So you can get a win. It's a really good feeling.
Well, there next to the 98 of Hunter Johnson, we have the 68 of Thomas Harmon. Started in 7th tonight. He comes away with a 2nd place finish. Let's go down and grab him and see how he's feeling. Thomas Harmon, you got a copy?
10-4, I got you.
Hey, minor mistake with about 15 laps to go. You let the 98 around you. We had a discussion up here in the booth. What were you thinking there? Were you really pushing to try to get the win, or were you just trying to maintain position and make sure nothing bad happened to you?
I was just trying to. I knew I was in a point situation there, and knew that I was going to try to stay in front of him, but I wasn't going to put up too much of a fight. And I decided to run the high side in 3 and 4 to try to cut off his line and make him use another line. And then when I got back in the gas, it just jumped sideways, and I'm like, and I thought I was done. But yeah, I'd rather not do that again.
Yeah, we noticed you running that lower line most of the night, and in the last few, or in the closing laps of the race, you jumped back up to that higher line. Thought you might have been trying to make something happen and steal the win away. Obviously, it'd have been nice if it came to you, or if you'd have made a mistake. But yeah, we were talking a lot about the point. What was going on with the points there. Once you were 3 to go, it wouldn't have mattered. But if with 5 to go, if you completely wrecked yourself and ended up losing those last 5 laps and finishing last, you would have actually been knocked out of these playoffs. But able to make it into the next round. How do you feel going into Martinsville next week?
Great. I like Martinsville. I've run well in the practices and the fixed races that I've done this week. Granted, that's nothing like what we'll experience, but being able to have that confidence coming in to next week will definitely help, especially finally getting to finish a race without a damaged car.
Yeah, well, we were just talking. I mean, your life was kind of on the line here tonight in these playoffs, and you came out and you performed. Going into next week, you're going to start in the 5th spot. So, well, all of you got... Well, actually, no, you will start in the 5th position with your win this season. Now that Hunter Johnson just captured the win here tonight, he will actually be 3 points ahead of you. So that'll put 4 drivers above you, and there's only 4 that can go to Homestead. Feeling good about the next 3 sets of tracks? Do you think you can put an overall, top 4 in at those 3 tracks and get a chance to race at Homestead, or what?
They're not my greatest, but I mean, Martinsville aside, Texas, yeah, I won there earlier this year, but let's face it, that was more luck than anything. Not exactly my strongest track, and ISM, I might be all right there, but I'm hoping to come away with another lucky win, lock myself in regardless.
Well, that's definitely the hope for everybody who's in this second to last round. So congratulations again on the 2nd place finish tonight. Congratulations on making it into the next round of playoffs. You got a shout out you want to give to anybody?
Yes. First and foremost, absolutely Katie Haight. I was picking her brain yesterday and today, even during practice. And she was giving me tips on running the low line, when would be a good time to go there, when would not be a good time. And as you can see, it paid off. And so I can't say enough for the help that she gave me there. Thanks to all my fans out there that are watching, because I got quite a few messages on the Facebook post already. Thanks to DRL, putting on the league and allowing me to run, S2R, and also Chad and Wade for allowing me to pop into their channel lately and get some help from them as well.
If I'm not mistaken, last S2R guy who is left in these cup standings, right?
That's correct. Oh, and been a while since I've gotten an interview here, so shout out to Avril too for sponsoring the car and allow me to put this thing up in.
You always got to get that Avril shout out in there, but great work, man, especially again on the part of S2R. I know you had a lot of guys that are running in that lower Grand National Series and doing very well down there. Your teammate Ryan Hesgard had a rough night last night, but he's been the favorite so far this season, and he's come out and proved himself. So we'll see what he's able to do moving forward, and you get a chance to move forward. So we'll see you back next week at Martinsville and see what you can do moving forward, man.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys there, thankfully.
All right, buddy. Have a great night.
You too.
That was Thomas Harmon, our second place finisher this evening. We got Joseph Helton, the 0-2, unable to get the interview with him. He did start on the pole position tonight. We didn't get him at the beginning of the race, and I don't know if he's turned up here towards the end of this one or not. So I don't see him anywhere. I think we're going to skip over Joseph Helton and go straight to Mike Springer in the number 12 car. It's the fourth place finish. Mr. Consistency, the number 12. Mike Springer, you got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, I just called you Mr. Consistency. It seems like every week we interview you, and every week it's either a fourth or a fifth place finish, rarely the top three, but you pull out another one, man. How's it feel?
I'm tired of fourth. I thought I had a chance tonight at the win, but I messed up. I had long run speed, so yeah, I'm bummed out that I messed up.
Yeah, you seem to be very good on the longer runs. You moved yourself into a good spot there after that initial caution. Didn't do much damage to the car. Well, now, you know, you got the right front fender damage here at the end of the race, but after that first caution came out, you had one of the faster pit stops on the track. So, how do you feel? I mean, going into Martinsville next week, do you got a good feeling about this next round of playoff races, or?
I love Martinsville personally. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm hoping for a top 3 or so there. Texas worries me. Phoenix is fun. Homestead I like. So I don't know. You just gotta advance. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm just bummed. I think I could have had something for the 98 if I just kept the car clean and just stayed behind him and kind of rode till the end. But we'll see how it plays out. Martinsville's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch all you guys race around there next week. Small track, very tight, unlike Kansas tonight where you can kind of run all over the place. There's only one real line to run at Martinsville. If you're not right down there on that yellow line going through the corners, you're not doing anything. So it'll definitely be fun to watch. Congratulations again on fourth tonight, man. You want to shout out anybody before I let you go?
Thanks to the league, the other drivers, you guys for the broadcast. Hopefully we get some more guys out here for next season. It's a lot of fun to race this league, and you guys do a heck of a job broadcasting it. So I hope in the off season we recruit some people, and I'll be telling some people, and get bigger and better from here.
We definitely need everybody's participation with that. Anyone watching tonight, anybody who competes in the DRL to get the word out. And,
I mean, one caution. That's what you want.
Exactly. I mean, you don't even see that stuff in the top sponsored leagues in iRacing. So
no, we do it pretty consistently, 1 or 2.
Well, that goes to show too, Mike, that when you finally do get your first win here, it's going to be a special one, man.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard earned, that's for sure.
Well, have a wonderful night. We'll see you back next week, buddy.
All right, thank you. Bye.
That was Mike Springer, our fourth place finisher. Joseph Helt has signed on here now, so we'll go down and interview him. Joseph, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, so you came away with the pole. We'll try to get an interview with you, pre-race. Did well all night. You kind of hung around in the top 3. Do you think you had something for the 98 there, or was he just a class of the field?
Yeah, he was really fast on a short run. Goal was to save some tire for the end of the race, and then Thomas and I were able to get back to him. Just didn't have enough time to try and get around him, but happy with the run. Haven't run a lot of laps here in the last couple weeks, so just felt good to be back on the track.
Well, you're the one guy who is not in these playoffs right now that finished in the top 5. I mean, I can't wait to watch you next year. I don't know if I asked you this last week, but you coming around for the Winter Series?
Yeah, hoping to. All depends with the new additions to the family if the wife lets me. So you'll have to ask her.
You say new additions to the family? Does that have an S at the end of it?
Yes. So we had twins about a month ago. That's why I haven't been racing a whole lot.
That's crazy exciting, man. Congratulations on that before anything. That's absolutely amazing. I don't know if I would have wanted wanted twins during either one of my child's births or not, that's definitely a lot to handle all at once. Are they your first or?
Yeah, it's our first, so we're super excited. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, hopefully we'll see you again next week and a couple more races to the end of this season. And love to see you compete in the Winter Series and come back and prove yourself here in the Cup Series next year.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for what you do. Hopefully, you guys had a good showing to broadcast tonight.
No, it was a fun one to watch, that's for sure. If the viewers didn't enjoy it, then there's a problem. So, anybody else you want to say hey to or thank for this evening?
Thanks to everybody who came out and watched. I know we had a small field, but small field put on a good show.
All right, man. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you too.
And that was Joseph Helt, our third place finisher, kind of going out of order there. Last but not least, with the burnt up motor here in the 62, we've got Anthony Burrows. He's a regular in these post-race interviews. Down and grab him. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy, man?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, caught you mid-race there after the incident. You still come away with the top 5. Listen, this is the one race, Burrows, that I thought you weren't going to get a top 5. You've raced in, what is that, 26 or 27 this season, and nothing but top 5s, and you get another one here tonight. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I mean, I definitely had to work my way up to the field to get that top 5. My hands were a little sore afterwards, but yeah, I was battling with Chad there. I was fighting hard to get the top 5. It took me about 10 laps to get him, but I finally got around and then set sail. So yeah, P5 definitely feels really good tonight.
Well, going into the next segment, I don't want to say you're almost a lock at this point. If you make all 3 races, though, I think you could. I mean, really, you could probably finish last in all 3 with all the bonus points you've gotten all season. But how are you feeling about the next 3 tracks? And I mean, Homestead at the end of the season.
Yeah, next round 3 completely different tracks, but all tracks I feel comfortable driving on. I'm starting to enjoy Martinsville. I used to hate that track, but starting to grow on. Texas, I'm okay at, and then Phoenix is pretty fun too. And then Homestead, I didn't really run the greatest there last year, and I've never really been all that great at that track. So definitely gonna have to put in some practice for that one. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that one if we can make it through.
Well, you say you didn't run the greatest there last year, but Eric Wolf just barely able to sneak out a win there in the final race of last year's Cup Series. If I think it came down to something. If you would have stayed out and just led a lap before the caution, or under green flag, if you would have stayed out and led a lap, you would have ended up coming away with that championship. Unfortunate how all that worked out, but I'm hoping to see you back again next year or this year, and see if you can get a little bit of redemption, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you want to say hi to anybody before I let you go tonight?
Definitely big shout out to Hunter for winning the race. I think that's his second win, I think, in Cup, so that's pretty cool. Shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast as always, and James and everyone else for putting on the league.
Awesome, Anthony. Well, it's good to hear from you every week, man, and I'm sure we'll see you more moving forward. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
Well, Martin, that was definitely an eventful evening. I didn't even notice, until I actually pulled Burrows in here for the interview. We're talking to top 5 guys, and I just said to myself, how in the world did this guy do it again? He gets in an accident, only 40 laps into this race, and he still comes away with the top 5 finish. It's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, he just keeps racking up those top 5s.
Well, that is going to do it for tonight. We're going to run the credits here. Thank you to everybody involved with the Dynasty Racing League. James Pandolf and Tater Bowman, the owners of the league, for running everything and keeping everybody calm, even under some stringent conditions throughout the season. Martin, yourself, and Jordan Gonzalez for all of the graphics and stuff that the viewers get to see up here on the screen. David Wellborn Jr. and Taylor Butcher Benjamin on all of the broadcast work that you guys have done. Getty Buckner, Jason Taylor, who's joined us now on Monday nights, and Eric Weatherholtz for running that Indy series earlier in the season. So that is over at this point, but still continues to do work with the league. We got a nice road series coming up here in the winter, and might have another winter series coming up or another road series coming up during the regular season next year. So definitely going to be some more of that. Big thanks to all of our viewers out there for tuning in all evening and following along with these guys and watching some guys sneak in and some guys get booted out of these playoffs. So it's definitely been exciting. I can't wait for the next 3 races and the season finale at Homestead. It's going to be fun. Martin, you got anything else for the viewers before we head out of here this evening? I think Martin's voice chat is all messed up right now, so we are going to sign out of here. Thank you to all the viewers again for tuning in to watch us, and everybody have a wonderful night.